I'm Larry Dignan with Constellation Insights, and we're here with Fiona Tan. She's CTO of Wayfair. Hi there, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it.
And congratulations on the BT 150.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So, Wayfair has been a very interesting company for the last couple of years because you had the COVID, you ramped up. Now things have changed a little bit. It's kind of going back to 2019. How have your priorities changed over the last 18 months, and what's that mean for the technology part of it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think with COVID, initially, especially when all the brick and mortars were also closed, right? So there was a big ramp up. I think from a technology play perspective, I think we were fortunate in that we moved a lot of the, we had done a bit of a cloud migration by that point. So in a way, the scale up was, we were well protected from that perspective. So that was good timing from that, to that back of that. But yeah, in terms of what we were trying to do, I think we certainly thought at one point accelerated a lot of growth, right? So we did a little bit more hiring than we should probably have done so. And as we've seen the category pull back, I think one of the things it's been a good forcing function for us is just making sure that we're really going back to the basics and really being efficient with our costs, both from a technology perspective, but also from an operational perspective. And what we've been able to do is really focus on not just growth, but growth and profitability. And I think as we're doing that, the market is still, our category especially, is still somewhat depressed. Mm-hmm. I think the fact that we're able to continue to grow our market share and do that in that environment will really set us up well for, at the end of the day, we are, being in the home category, people will start buying more for their home again at some point, right? And so it will be all places.
So
just really quick, could you guys look at the camera when you're answering the question? Just so it's like, the voice projects and then anyone watching, and it's just, I know it seems counterintuitive, but yeah, so carry on.
So I'll ask the question, you want me to look at the camera?
Yeah, or maybe just look at her, just like look to the camera every now and again.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right, so in terms of, the operational part and the technology part, how do you line up the business and the technology part?
Yeah, that's always the thing, isn't it? So I think what we're doing at Wayfair, we've done that pretty well, is a very, very close alignment from the business use cases really driving what we built from a technology perspective. But then also balancing it, right? Because you want to make sure at the same time, I think it's beholden on the technology organization and certainly myself and my leadership team to ensure that we have the right platform and infrastructure from a technology perspective to enable us to continue to grow in a flexible, scalable way, right? And so it's a balance of making sure that we're able to build out the business use cases that are necessary to grow the business, but then also doing it in a way that's, from a tech perspective, something that we can support and grow. I think that's been something that, when I talk about our tech transformation, that's a bit of that pivot and transformation that we're trying to do, taking much more of that platform mindset and maybe making sure that we're setting ourselves up not just from the zero to 10 billion, but really from the 10, 12, 15, 50 billion, 100 billion company, just making sure we have that.
So I guess in terms of herding the cats, right? Mm-hmm. You have logistics, you have operations, you have the finance team. You're trying to turn sales over, you're trying to market to folks. How do you place your technology bets?
We place our technology bets, again, I think very business use case driven. We work very, very closely. I mean, one thing that we appreciate about our stakeholders, both the commercial side as the operations side, is that they're very open. And being a digitally native company, I think a lot of our stakeholders also realize that there's tech enablement of the business is super important. So to some degree, it helps a little bit, but yes, you still do need to ensure that the cats are well herded. But we do try to ensure, again, that we're always very focused on the customer and what experiences and what outcomes we're trying to drive, and then ensuring that we're looking, our job is to make sure we have the right tech to be able to drive those outcomes, but we kind of come up with those outcomes together.
Okay.
So that's sort of been a good model for us.
Are you looking at your technology in terms of, the whole value chain, in terms of, suppliers and distribution? I guess how does that play into your world?
Yeah, for sure. We have our business model is a bit interesting, right? Because we show up as a first-party retailer to our customers, but then on the back side of it, the other side of it is a third-party marketplace, right? So to your point around suppliers, making sure that we are able to provide them a platform that enables them to sell their product, and we try to help represent their products in the best way possible to our kind of collective customers, right? So there's a lot of the merchandising and representation, the curation, product understanding, and augmentation that we do in between. And so once we are able to do this matchmaking between customer and supplier's product, then we also do the fulfillment of that, right? So as you can imagine, we're shipping and handling some of the toughest things to ship and handle and the most expensive things, right? Big, large, bulky items. So we've built out a whole supply chain operations that's really, 100% just geared for the whole category. So I think it allows us to just focus on that and do that well. But it's also, pretty, if you think about the swath of capabilities and products that we have, it's actually quite broad.
Okay. What are your key metrics? I mean, if you were to pick out three, like how are you in your technology role? How's that evaluated?
From a technology perspective, I think I would say from a company perspective, it's how do we make sure that we have products at the right price for our customers, we have selection and availability and just speed and delivery, right? So those are I would say those uber company metrics, and for us as technology, we want to make sure that we can support all of the above. And so certainly the thing that I look at from a tech platform perspective is how quickly can we enable the business, right? The functionality, how can we ensure that we are best equipped, right, to be able to do that. So that goes back to we make sure we have the right platform, make sure that we're using all the technologies available to us. And we've been, again, as a digitally native company, we've been investing in machine learning. I would say nowadays, I guess it's called traditional AI or analytical AI, whatever you call it, right?
Until we come up with a new buzzword.
I know, right? So for the last decade or so, we've been doing that. Because if you think about the category that we're in, it's very style-based, emotive. There's not really, you don't have the benefit of brands, etc., right? So being able to understand the products that we get from our suppliers in a way that we can enrich and then augment, etc. And again, present it to our customers. Ability to understand our customers, but they may not even know what they're looking for, is one where I think it's lends itself very well to certain personalization. A lot of the capabilities using machine learning. Our marketing attribution is something again that we can do. So it's around how do we make sure that we are supporting our business and making sure that we're using technology for everything that's available to us. Now, certainly with generative AI, again, looking at what are the use cases, where is our first party data interesting, how do we leverage the LLMs to ensure that we're always cutting edge, whether it's from a customer experience perspective or a productivity perspective as well.
So I think in your Investor Day presentation, you talk a lot about microservices and sort of setting things up. Is that all about future-proofing, and how do you not get technical debt?
Oh gosh, how to not get technical debt? We already
it
have
only
a
takes
bunch.
like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
So.
we already have a whole bunch. So we're, for sure, I think we're trying to actually, some of this pivot that I was talking about is how to get out of some of the practices that we have lent itself to some of our technical debt. And again, when you asked about priorities and how do you balance just building up business capabilities, but ensuring we have the right platform. So we've been doing a lot of work in that regard and trying to pivot away from, paying down some of our tech debt. And it's interesting, I've been actually trying to use some of the new generative AI capabilities. One of the speakers today mentioned that a little bit as well, but we're really kind of seeing, some of the old things that you have that was written a long time ago by people that don't work at the company anymore. A lot of those legacy with databases, stored procedures, old code that you could use potentially LLM to help you in terms of understanding instrumentation, documentation, transformation, etc. So we're trying to also harness, you could say, the newest technology will fix some of our oldest problems. That's one thing very important for us.
What was the biggest thing you learned this year?
The biggest thing I learned this year, let me see. I think it's interesting when you think about technology and some of the things that were cool. It's interesting. I was thinking back in college. My senior thesis was on decisions and expert systems, and this was a long time ago, to put it that way. And it's still, and then for a while you kind of heard about it was in the background, right? People didn't really talk about AI so much, and now it's I love, I've been my whole career in tech, and I think the thing I learned is there's always constantly something new to learn, or maybe something old that's going to come back up into resurgence. And how do you we can continue to kind of focus on the customer experience and enabling that, and then figuring out all the different tools that you have to disposal, but maybe just continue to be like use case driven first. Focus on.
And then for 2024, what's the goal or plan?
Yeah, for 2024, I think, we'll be through a lot of the sort of tech transformation that we're going through. So a lot of it will then be focusing on how do we continue to enable new capabilities. I think we're looking at certainly as the user, I think there's going to be some interesting changes to how customers interact with the user experiences, right? You might hear a little bit more about that later on today as well. But really trying to figure out, hey, is conversational search going to become a thing? How do I leverage that within the category? Again, it's a interesting category where you can probably do some amount of keyword searching, filtering, visual searching, conversational searching, kind of all together. So I think that's one of the areas that we'll be looking at is how might the customer experience change? And I think 2024 we'll see more of that as we become more familiar with the LLMs, especially for us, especially the multimodal LLMs. I think that's interesting for us because it's both text and imagery. So hoping to see where that takes us next year.
Is there anything I didn't ask that I should have? Any final points you want to make?
No, I think a lot of it is, I think a lot of it is around, for us, being really focused on sort of our core competence, but then really seeing how we can use tech to enable really business use case for them, I guess is pretty much it, what you already asked.
All right, thanks for joining us.